Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon, and in this episode I'm going to share with you a 100-year-old hot chocolate recipe that is literally the best homemade hot chocolate I have ever tasted. Now, I don't say that lightly because I don't drink tea or coffee, so hot chocolate is the hot drink that I drink, and I have tried so many recipes and not found any of them great, but this one is wonderful. I found this chocolate and cocoa recipe booklet from 1911, and this was actually a promotional recipe booklet that you used to be able to get for free when you bought Walter Baker chocolate 100 years ago. And in it is all sorts of recipes and information about chocolate, and the recipe for what it calls plain chocolate, which is the amazing hot chocolate recipe that I'm going to show you how to make. It says to mix 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with 1 gill of milk. Now, a gill is about 100 mils, so about that much, that'll do. Then add in the cornstarch or the corn flour and mix that until there are no more lumps. It says to put the remainder of the milk in a pan and onto the heat. Now, I've chosen a really big pan here. It looks like it's oversized for the job, but you'll see why I did that in a minute. Put that over a low heat, and it says when the milk comes to boiling point, stir in the cornstarch. Now, as you can see, when milk boils, it bubbles right up, and that's why we've got the big pan. Now, tip in that cornstarch and stir it in, and then it says to cook this for 10 minutes. Now, don't skimp on this step, because this is doing 2 things. 1, you need a couple of minutes to cook the cornstarch so it doesn't taste floury, and 2, the remaining 8 minutes are evaporating off some of the water from the milk, which leaves you with a richer, creamier hot chocolate. The recipe book talks about this hot chocolate as if it has magical powers. Listen to this. It says it's a perfect food, as wholesome as delicious, a beneficent restorer of exhausted power. It's highly nourishing, it's easily digested, and is fitted to repair wasted strength, preserve health, and prolong life. Wow. It agrees with dry temperaments and convalescence, with mothers who nurse their children, with those whose occupations oblige them to undergo severe mental strains, with public speakers, and with all those who give work to a portion of the time needed for sleep. It soothes both the stomach and the brain, and for this reason, as well as for others, it's the best friend of those who engage in literary pursuits. Amazing claims. Next, we need 2 ounces of Walter Baker's Premium No. 1 chocolate. Now, Walter Baker had 3 different chocolates on the market at the time. You've got this German's sweet chocolate. Now, Samuel German was one of the employees at the cocoa mill back in 1819, and he came up with the idea of making chocolate with not just cocoa beans and a little bit of sugar and some vanilla, but also adding in some coffee beans. Everyone liked it, so Dr. Baker bought the recipe off him and paid him 10 times his yearly salary. How generous is that? And then he also named the chocolate bar after him. What a great boss. How lovely to have a generous payout for the recipe and a chocolate bar named after you. Then they had this one, which is a sweet chocolate. It has the trademark picture on the front. This is actually a very old pastel painting from 1743 by Jean-Étienne Léotard, a famous artist of the time. He was known for his portraits. He even painted Marie Antoinette before she became the Queen of France. No one is sure who the girl in this picture is serving the hot chocolate. Some stories say she is Annabel Toff, who was the daughter of an impoverished knight. She actually worked at the chocolate shops in Vienna, and one day young Prince Deutrichstein met her, fell in love and married her, and so the story goes he commissioned the famous artist to paint her as he met her serving chocolate. No one knows for sure, but we do know that the Walter Baker Company bought a copy of the painting to go on their cocoa packaging and their sweet chocolate. This one is actually a white chocolate, and white chocolate just has the cocoa fat from the cocoa beans and not the cocoa powder. So if you break this down, you get fat and cocoa powder. They've just taken the fat from it, mixed it with some sugar and some vanilla. That's not what we want in this recipe. And then this one is their famous premium #1 Baker's chocolate, named after Dr. Baker, the original owner of the company. It has hardly any sugar in it. It is the cocoa beans ground up with a little bit of vanilla, and that is what we want to use today. A third of people were illiterate at this time, so having very different coloured labels for the different chocolate was important for telling them apart. In the shops, you can just look for any dark chocolate that has the highest percentage of cocoa solids that you can find. Next, it says to have the chocolate cut in fine bits and put it in a small iron or graniteware pan and add 3 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of hot water and place the pan over a hot fire and stir until smooth and glossy. I'm going to skip the pan and the fire and just microwave it for 15 seconds instead. Now you can see it still looks grainy, and that's okay. That's just the sugar, and that will dissolve in the hot milk. All we're trying to do here was melt the chocolate and mix it in with the water so it's easier to combine with the milk. Now it says to add this to the hot milk and beat the mixture with a whisk until it's frothy. I love frothy hot chocolates. And then it says serve at once. Look how good that looks. I'm going to add some marshmallows and a sprinkle of extra chocolate. And this is so yummy. But you do need to take note of what it says in the book. It says people who make constant use of chocolate are the ones who enjoy the most steady health and are the least subject to a multitude of little ailments which destroy the comfort of life. With thanks to my wonderful patrons who support this channel, you can join them here, and if you want to get hold of my cookbook, it is here. If you like this series, let the algorithm know by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and watching more. Make it a great week by being kind to others, and I'll see you on Friday.